Okay, so in today's session, we'll be discussing about different types of categories of tags. So we have already seen the structure of the tags and what is the purpose of the tags. At the same time, we have also seen what is the structure of an attribute and why is the purpose of using attributes and what is the attributes will do. This all we discussed in the yesterday's session, right? So in today's session, we'll be discussing about different types of tags. So among the first category is meta tags. So in the meta tags, what we'll get? Meta tags in the sense, most of the tags that we'll get in the head part, like what we'll have meta tag, like next to doc type is also one of the tag. Then link is there. Then what else is there? Title is there, etc. So most of the tags that whatever the tags that we get in the head tag, those all falls under this meta tag category. Okay. So next second tag is void or unclosed tags. So we have already seen the structure of void or unclosed tag, that is which doesn't have any content or ending. It will have only the starting point. So some of the type of tags are break and HR. So etc. So these are the two tags that we can use as a each one. And void or unclosed tags. So if you see practically them, so so there is a tags called div1 section. There are two tags which names div and section. Both are different tags. So these are like carry bags. So however, if you just imagine a bottle will carry a liquid state of content, a solid state can be carried in a box. So in the same way, but if you want to carry all of them, we need some container, right? If you have some bag or something which can hold all of them. So like that only here also we have paragraph tags, we have heading tags, image tags and all. So, but if you want to make them as a group and if you want to hold them as a one part, so that is where this div or section I can use. So what is the purpose of using this div or section is, for example, I have written 1,00,000 lines of code. Okay. So imagine there are one is a category section, was one place mobile section. Next one is the like earphone section. Next one is the touchpad section. Some sections are there. So section by section, it will be different types of sections. So if I match all the code, if there is a single error, I have to check the whole 1,000 lines of code. But just imagine if I just separate the first 200 lines, that whichever the lines is for mobiles category, then I can segregate the code of like earphones category. So if I segregate the each and every category separately, if I put, if there is some issue in the mobile category, I have to check only code within the 200 lines of mobile code, right? So that is if you to segregate like that part by part, that is where we use the div1 section. So div is a old tag and section is the HTML5 tag. So you can use any of the tag. So there is no difference between using section or div. Okay. So if you want to go with very standards, then you have to think where we have to use the div and where you need to use the section. But both will do the same work. So now why I'm using this div? Because I want to categorize each category of tags into separate parts, right? So now text tags. So for that, first let me before give a heading. So text tags. So now if you see, so there is a tag we said like HR, right? We discussed nothing but horizontal row. BR is nothing but break the row. Okay. So what this HR or BR will do? So what we'll do? Let me add some styles to this div. So like before viewing, let us open the output. So this is the introduction.html, right? So this is what I got in my, this is what I got, right? So text tags. So I want to make it little look good. So how I can do it? So let me give border. Border 2px solid red. Okay. So solid red. So then what is the tag? So it will give the border. So if I reload, as you can see, I got some border around my element or not. So it is got created around my div. Okay. So let us comment these things. We don't want these things anymore. So if you see, I got some border. Sorry. Okay. So now if you see, we got a border around to the div. So now if you see, I given border to the div. So the div only have full border. So that means whatever the elements that I create within the div, those all elements will be under that border only. Got it? So now if you see, if I just go with the, for example, if you see the text is completely attached to the border. So there is a even predefined margin to the body. So, okay, body. See, margin 8px is there by default. See, this is 8px is there. So if I remove it, you can see the text is, the element is completely attached to the corners of it. So what is this margin and what is this padding is? These are called as a spacing utilities, we call them as. Okay. So for example, if you want to create any space inside of your element, that means inside the border, if you want to create any element space, then you can use the padding. Okay. So if you want to create the space around your element, that means outside of your element, so then you can use this margin. Got it? So this padding and margin are the spacing utilities we'll use for every section. Okay. So now we'll see how we'll give the padding and how we'll give the margin. So for this element, if you see, let me inspect here only. Okay. So this is the element, right? So for this element, if I give like margin 10px, so what happened? So if you see, the space is created around the element, right? So if I give like padding 15px, so what happened? The space is created inside the element, as you can see. So this is how a padding and a margin will work. Okay. So if you want to create a space around your element, you will use the margin. If you want to create the space inside of your element, you'll use the padding. Okay. So if you directly give margin or padding, it is going to apply in all the directions. For example, I don't want to apply it in all the directions. I just want to go with one direction, like margin top or something. So then you can go with the individual properties like margin top 10px, margin bottom 10px, margin left 10px, or margin right 20px. So individual directions also you can give. For now, instead of giving all the directions, if you want to give only to the particular direction also, you can use like this. So that is one method of using all the properties. Okay, individual directions. So there is a second way of using individual properties. How you can use is, for example, if you take a clockwise direction, how a clock will rotate? In a clockwise from left to right. So always in the clock, what is the starting point? 12. That means which direction? 12 is in which direction? Which direction I'm asking? Top, bottom, right, left is there. Which direction it will be? Okay. So in the same way here also, if I give like, instead of giving padding 10px directly, okay, so I'll give like this 15px, 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 15px. So now tell me, which value will deal with which direction? First value will deal with which direction? Next, third value, fourth value. Got it? So if you want to give individual value, this is how you can give. For example, I can give 20 here. I can give 30 here. 25. I can give 30 here. Got it? So like this, I can give, if you see now, the padding is different in each direction or not? Got it? So that is how you can give the individual by using a single property also. Instead of writing padding top, bottom like that, instead of writing multiple properties, you can write in a single property. Or else, there is one more method that you can again write. For example, if you get only 3 values, padding like 15px, 20px, 30px. Now tell me which one will deal which direction. Before I have 4, now only have 3. How we will deal it? What about the left? It will also take the value. How it will take? So it will go clockwise only. So top, right, bottom. Which value is missing? Left. So what is opposite direction of left? So automatically it will take the right value. If you see here, top 15px, right and left is 20px, and bottom is 30px. Okay. So now what happened? If whichever the value is not missing, opposite direction value will be automatically taken. Okay. So now if I give like padding of 20px and 30px, now tell me which one will happen to which direction? Top and bottom will be, what is the value? Okay, so first value indicates the top, second value indicates right. So next value should come bottom. So bottom value is not there. So automatically it will take the top value because opposite direction is top only. 20. Next right value also not there. What is the opposite to the right? Left is the opposite to right. So automatically it will take the 30. So top bottom will be 20, right and left will be 30px. So the same thing happens with the margin also. Instead of padding, you will give the margin. Margin also you can use like this. Got it? So these are called as the spacing utilities, we call them as. Got it? Is it clear? So now let us give nth coach. There is no limit. But for example, if you go on increasing, okay, so if I give 500px, so what happened? So as the suppose, just imagine room width is like 2 feet. 1 feet I put the wall. Okay. Half feet I put some concrete, some painting. Remaining half feet I put some thermocol or something, styling. So is there any space left there? No space is left. Same thing happens with the elements also. Elements, they have some width like 1000px or 200px. So if you go on increasing the padding, what happens? It will get compressed. So this is what happens if you see. See what happening? So as the padding increasing, automatically what happening? The width of the element is getting decreased. Okay, so if you see, as the padding is reducing, the space is getting increasing. So basically, there is a concept called box model. Okay. So what is this box model will tell is, so this is called as the box model. So if you click on any element and if you come to the bottom of the styles, you'll get this box model. So what is the purpose of box model is, they'll ask you in interview also. So the box model will give the box model will provide with the exact width and height of the element along with the spacing utilities. Okay, to deal with the spacing utilities and to check what is the space the element is taking, the box model will help you. For example, if you see the original width of the element, so this element will be, what is the width and height? So 1792 into 868.9 it is there. Okay, or else let me remove this padding now. 15px. Okay, so what is the width of it? 1807 is the width. Okay, my whole element width is. Before that, let me check the body width. That will be the original width of. So if you check the body width, what is the width of the body? 1827. Okay, if you come here, you can see 1827 is the width of my element. That much width I can, or any element can occupy here. 1827. But for that body, I created one element div. So the div I given margin of 20px or 10px. How much I given? Margin I given 10px. So in that, what is the value? 1807, right? So in that, what is the value I have left now? So margin is taking 20px, 10px on the left, 10px on the right. Okay, got it? So automatically what happened? So it is same like room only. Some width is reduced. So the space get reduced. So then border I given 2px. So left side 2px, right side 2px. Again 4px width is gone. In the 1070, 27, 24px is gone. Okay. Now how much will be there? 1082. 1082 px will be there. So now again padding there is how much is gone? 15 px is gone. 15 left, 15 at 30. So totally how much is there? 1054 will be there. So 171773. I think we go miss something. Okay. So what is wait. So 1827. Sorry, we made a mistake. 1827 minus first 20 margin, right? 18.7. So then 4px. 18.3. Next 30px. 1773. Yeah, 1773. So this is the original width of the element. Okay. So height also will take, but we no need to worry about the height because height will be increasing gradually, but width should not increase, right? Width will be fixed width. So 1008 as by default, my element width is 1087 something, but 1807. But what is the width that I have left for my element now? 1773. So that is what happens. So for example, if you see, if I increase this padding, what is the width is decreasing or not? See, as I increase the padding, my element width is getting decreased, right? So how much ever the you give padding, border and margin, apart from that, what is the original space is width? Like what is the space is left? That is the original width of that element. So for example, I give 100% width to that element. So it will create an overflow. Why? Because for example, I give a margin as 10px. Okay. So and I give minimum width of this element 100% in the sense it should take all the 1807px it should take. So now if you see there is a scroll bar came or not? If you see there is a scroll bar came here vertically. Okay, so why it is coming? Because I am telling this element to take 1807px width. That means full width I am telling. So it is taken the full width. So apart from full width, there are some space utilities. What are the space utilities? Like border 4px is there and margin 20px is there. Totally 24px more is there. So now if you check this element, so what is the width of this element? 1827. So what is the previous width? No, I without including margin and all. Original body width I'm asking. 1827. But now if you see this element, so that 1827 is not the original width. Okay, 1827. So I'm telling my element to take full width, right? So 1827 plus what it will take? Margin and border 24px. Padding will be inside of the element, so that's not an issue. But margin will be out of the element. So totally how much width this element is taking now? Even though it is not showing here. 1827 is the C width whole element. 1827 plus 2px border plus 10px. Totally how much? 18 40 50 sorry 51px. Why? Because 10 10 20px 2 2 24px 1827 plus 24 how much? 1840 1851. Got it. So but what is the width, the whole width I have left? 1827. Nakuna width 1827, but I'm occupying a width of 1851. So that is the why this scroll bar. Okay, that means overflowing. Okay, so a developer should remember what is the main rule is a page can go for a vertical scroll, that means top to bottom, but a page never should give a horizontal scroll bar. That means scrolling from left to right. So if your layout is creating these type of issues, then definitely it is an issue only. Okay, so whenever you're giving width as 100%, be careful. If there is a margin or a border to that element, automatically it will create a overflow. Got it? For example, if you see a given width of 100%, right? But if I remove this margin and I remove the border. So padding also, yeah, padding also it is affected. So now if you see, is there any overflow? But if I put on a padding, see what happened? Get increased. Got it? Because I given this element with minimum width of how much? 1827. See, generally, whatever the space left after all the border padding and margin, that's what the original element width. But now I'm giving element by default, I'm giving width of 100%. So padding also will affect the overflow. Got it? So padding, border and margin. Totally extra how much it is creating. Not, we made a mistake previously. So totally it is taking off how much? If you see 1827 plus 104, that means 208 plus 208, how much? 2031, right? 2031 plus 4, 2035. Next 2055, 20, got it? So 2055, 1827 minus 2055, how much? 232 px extra is there. Got it? So that's why this overflow is creating. Is it clear? So whenever you give margin or padding or minimum width to any element, check about this padding, margin and border. So is it clear about the margin and padding now? So do you understand how a minimum width will work and how a overflow will start? Clear? So now this is how I given my element. So let me give some padding and margin here. Okay. So if you see, I got space around my element at the same time inside of my element. Got it? So if you take the H1 have by default, is it margin or padding? Heading tag by default have margin or padding? Why? So by default, every tag has some features. In the same way, H1 tag has some margin. Okay, that is also not in all the directions, only on top and bottom. Got it? So that is the reason why the line is coming here. Okay, after the margin only the HR, nothing but horizontal O is created. Got it? So now if you go with the text tags category, so under the text tags we'll get like heading tags from H1 to H6. So then paragraph tag, span tag, I tag, EM tag, bold tag, strong tag. Then what else we have? I, EM. Code, etc. Okay, so I'll just explain some of the important tags. You go with the remaining tags. Okay, so first one, if you see heading tags H1 to H6, so which will be used for creating the headings. So H1 heading tags, duplicate 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Totally. So H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Yeah. Again, H2, H3, 4, H6, totally 6 elements. Okay. So now if I go to the browser, so this is how I'll get my output. H1 is somewhat big size and bold. H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So these are called as the heading tag. If you can see the different output, did we given any font size or color? Nothing. By default, it is taking its features. Got it? So that is the difference between each and every tag. So next one will be paragraph tag. Okay. So this is a paragraph tag. So if you go to the browser, so this is how a paragraph tag will give the output. Got it? So if you check the paragraph also, that will also have some margin on top and bottom. Okay, so next one will be I tag. Okay, lorem and so I tag. So next B tag. Next, what I have span. So span I'll tell you later. So now if you see, so this is I tag, nothing but italic. Convert the normal content into italic. B is nothing but bold tag. It will make the text as a bold letters. So if you see here, from starting to here, these all coming in one, each one in one line. But these both are coming in a single line. Why? Because there is a property called display you need to know. Okay. So property of display. So each and every element that we create in HTML, whether whatever it is a div or whether it is a like a headings, paragraphs, span or any element it may be, all the elements will have any one feature that is nothing but whether display property will be common. So some elements will have a display of inline. So some elements will have a display property of block. I'll simply go opposite. Block inline. So among these two, any one of the property will be common for all the elements. So if you take a div, it will be block level element. If you take a h1 heading tags, these are block level elements. If you take I tag or span tag or anchor tag, these all are inline element. So what is mean by this block or what is mean by this inline? So that's what we need to know now. Okay. So for example, so div, these block level elements are like uh, hierarchies. They'll feel like hierarchy. That means, so they'll feel like I am a big person, so I'll not allow any other person to sit beside to me. So that is the reason why if you see the heading tag H1, how much space it is occupying? Only this much space it is required for the content. So if the content is increasing, okay, for example, so if this content is increasing, okay, okay. So now if you see this much space it is required. As the content, how much it is taken, that much space it should take. But how much width it is taking? It is taking the whole row. So even though it is required only that little space, it is occupying the full row. Because if it is occupy the full row, no other element will have to sit beside to it. It will not. So that's what happens to a block level element. So block level elements, even it have a single letter. See, if it have even single letter or if it doesn't have any text also, see what happening. It is occupying the whole row. So if I give like some content, if I give one letter, if I give, so there is only one letter in this one, right? So, but still what happening? It is occupying the whole row. That is what a block load elements will do. So a block load element will occupy the whole row. So, and it will not allow any other elements to sit beside to it. Got it? So that is what a block load elements will do. So now if you see for this element, so let me give a border. Green. Okay. So there is a border we have given. Okay, let me make it 3 px. So it is visible now. So now this is the original height and width of this element. How much width? 1742 is the width and 43px is the height. So now if we want to increase the height, so what happens? So 42 is, so height is getting increased or not? So 72px. So height is increased. At the same time, it is taking the full width. So let me reduce the width to 200px. Okay. So for seeing purpose, it got reduced. But actually what happening? even though I reduced the width, it is not leaving that whole row. So what it is doing, so I'll take only how much space the user told, developer told, but remaining space I'll keep it as a my personal margin space. So see, this complete space is converted into a margin. Okay, so that is what a block load element will do. So when you give any width to any block load elements also, there is no use. Why? Because it will take the whole width, 100% width it will take. So it, even though the width, the content will be there within the width you have taken. Okay, that means what I'm telling, if I give 100 px, the content will be there only in 100 px. Like if you see, so I put some content here. Now if you see what happening, still it is overflowing 100% because it is already taking the width of 100%. Got it? So that is how a block load element will do. So the inline element is completely opposite to the block load. So what it will tell, I don't want to be stupid like you. I'll take only how much space I require. So if I want only 10 px, I'll take 10 px only. I don't want other space. So even if you force me to take also, I'm not ready to take that space. That's what inline will tell. So if you take this as an example, this is an inline element. Okay. So that is the reason these both are inline elements. So that's why those both are getting sitting side by side. So if you see now, for example, so what I'll do now, for this element, if you see how much width it is taking, it is, there is no margin, there is no padding, nothing. It is just taking how much width it is required. So now if I remove some content within this, okay. So if you see, I remove some content. So now if you see, it is still it is taking how much space it is required or not. So let us give border and all to this element now. The border. Okay, I given some border. If you see, now let us give this width and width now. Width of 500 px. So see, is it anything is affecting? Nothing is affecting. So let us give height as 200 px. So is there anything happen? No. So let us give padding to it. Padding 30 px. So padding is working or not? Padding is working, right? But if you see padding working, so then let me give margin. So is the margin is working in all the directions? In all the directions. So padding is working in all the directions because it is inside the element. So padding is also the space of that element only. So it is taking how much space we give, but margin is out of the element. So what happening? It is not taking all the directions. It will take only on the left and right side, but it will not take any width or height properties. That is what inline elements will do. So what this inline element will say is, I'll take how much space I want. So I'll not take any more space that is not required for me. So if I want 100 px, I'll take only 100 px. So if the user told me to take the padding, I'll take padding, but I'll not take the height and width, because if I take height and width, I'm just taking the more height and width than the I required. So I don't want that. I'll take only how much I require. So that is why whenever your element is an inline display inline property, it will not take the height and width. It will not also take the margin in all the directions. It will only take padding and it will only take the margin in left and right direction. That is what happens with the inline element. So both are completely opposite or not. Block will tell that I'll occupy the whole road, I'll occupy the height and width, everything I'll take. But inline, it is completely opposite. I'll not take extra space. I'll take only how much space I require. I'll not allow height or width to manipulate me. That's what this inline will tell. So there is a third element. Sometimes, for example, I don't want my element to be take whole width, but that I want that element to be inline element. That means it should allow the other element to sit beside to it. At the same time, I want that element to take the height and width also. Okay. So which is possible only with the block elements. So the space, how much it is should take, it will be possible only with the inline. So that is where a new property came with the combination of block and inline. So that is called as the Third property, display inline block. Okay, display inline block. So what is this inline block will do is it have the properties of combination of block and inline. So whatever the element you create in HTML, every element will have whether block or inline only. So inline block, you have to convert. Sometimes if you want to convert any element like you required, in such cases, you have to write this inline property. How you will write it? For example, just imagine this is the element. Okay. So this is the element. So I given like height, width, nothing is working. Margin also working in only one direction, right? So padding also working like this. So this is what my element. So now I'll convert this display from inline to, it is by default inline, right? So I'll convert to inline block. So now if you see, is there any change? So it is still like a inline block, inline only. What it means, it will take only how much space it is required. But if the user want to increase the space, like I want to give width, width is increasing or not? But still after increasing width also it is taking how much space? It is required. 500 px only taken. So height, is it taken height or not? It is taking the height. If I give margin, so is it taking all the directions or not? If we give padding, got it? So it have the properties of block, it have the properties of inline also, behaviors, right? So that's why it is called as the inline block. So even though it is taking this much properties and all, but still it acts as an inline element. That means how much space I require, that much only I will take. So remaining space, it is allowing the next element to sit or not. So next element came beside to it, right? So that is how a inline block will be working. So when using any tag, you should know whether the tag is the inline or a block level element. So if you want to make that element to be inline only, you can leave it like that. But if you want to convert any block level element or inline element to inline block, you can directly use a property called display, and you can give property as inline block. Got it? Is it clear? Any doubts? Sure. Okay. So that is the another display properties of. So that is the reason why here heading tags are coming in a single line and these tags are coming in a side by side. Got it? So due to the properties of display, one is these are block level elements, these are inline elements. Okay. So next heading tags. So what else we have? Okay. So better we'll stop it here today. Okay, so we have discussed up to the text tags place. So tomorrow we'll be discussing list, table, and multimedia tags. These three will be getting completed today. Okay. So today we have discussed about space utilities. Also, we discussed about the display properties. We discussed about the text tags. Got it? So what is your today's task is try to check all the tags. Okay. So if possible, I'll take class tomorrow. Okay. So whatever the tags are there in HTML, okay, text tags. So I want you to search all the text tags and note it down in your notes. Okay. All the text tags. I don't want any other tags. I'm telling only text tags. Search for only text tags and do it. So next one of the tag I missed here is span tag. So what is this span is? For example, sometimes inline elements, if you want to keep like icons and all you want to get from out external source. Okay. So icons, if you take, there'll be I tag will be there. So if you just use all the elements in a bunch, it will be too clumsy. So to segregate each and every element, okay, even though I'm grouping them, I want to keep them separately one by one. So to keep like that separately, that is a span tag we'll use. So span tag, how you can use? You can use to separate any inline elements. Like, for example, this B tag is there. I'll put it in one span and I'll put it in. So next another B and next another B tag. Sorry. So okay. So in one span tag, I put this, which one? B tag. In another span, I put like which one? I tag I put. So like that, I can put the different elements in a span. That means I have the grip to hold them in a particular place. You got it? So that is the purpose of span. Span is not a special tag. It will help us to, however, div is helping us to hold. In the same way, span will help us to hold the inline elements. Got it? So is it clear? Anybody have any doubts? Got it?
Span words in a specific space.
Specific space in the sense, just for your reference purpose. So if you see, it is an inline element. Directly, instead of keeping like this, if you put within a span, that means you have a separation, right? So that means, see, you can consider, okay, this is one part, this is one part. So segregation you are doing, it is not a mandatory. For your purpose and for your look and good feel purpose, in the coding way, you can write a span, okay? So that's the only, there is no matter rule that you need to use the span. But span will be used when you are using any inline element sensitively, which will get merged if you feel that the elements will get merged. So in such cases, you will use the span. Because for suppose if you just imagine, I have the continuously 3 I tags. Without span, it will be how it will feel to write the code. So for suppose there is no span, I tag will end, again I tag will start, again end, I tag will start, right? So but if I put them within a span, now if you see how clear these are to look and write. Got it? So that is what happens with a span tag. Nothing much with a span. Clear? Any doubts?
heading tags అది సైజ్ అనేది ఆర్డర్ గా వచ్చింది అది సైజ్ అనేది కింద బాటం వచ్చి స్మాల్ వచ్చింది అది పైన స్మాల్ గా రావచ్చు
వస్తుంది H6 పైన పెట్టుకుంటే రాదా
అంటే అది చేంజ్ చేస్తున్నా వస్తుంది
Font change
change. So already we have seen right yesterday. See for example, so if you see this size is very small by default. Okay, so which one is this one, right? By default, this font size is very less. So what I'll do, I can write my own styles. I can directly take a property called font size, and if I give 30 px, now what is the size of my element? See, is it increasing or not? 67 px. Is it bigger than the heading tag or not? So that is how you can apply to any element. Got it? Clear? Now I have applied for I tag. That you can apply for heading tag also, right? You can apply for any tag, this font size.
H6
Yes.
H6 కాడ మనము ఫాంట్ సైజ్ అనేది మెయింటైన్ చేస్తున్నాం
Definitely. See, already they given a font size of 0.67 em by default. So that's why it is very small. So if I give like font size 50 px, so now if you see heading tag where it is 1 q 3 4 5 h6 kada. See h6, what is the font size now? H6. As the font size increases for heading tag, margin also will increase. Got it? You have to remember that it will happen only for the heading tags and paragraph, not for all the elements. If you see here, I increase the font size. Is anything is get affected? Only font is increased, but here along with the font size, margin also getting increased. Got it? Clear?